Kumbi naiwe kumbi, aunyare kumbi naiwe kumbi, aunyare kumbira zvese zvese, aunyare kumbi naiwe kumbi.
Zrbf is now in its second year of operation and has built active partnerships with 3 different consortia who are currently operating in 9 districts of the country and reaching 400,000 Zimbabweans. The consortia have come about through a competitive process, which is one of the principles that the fund operates on, that all partners joining as implementers must go through a competitive process. They must be able to come into new partnerships where everybody does what they're best at doing.
For the 3 districts that we are operating in, we had 2 consecutive years of drought. And after that, we also had the recent floods that we experienced for the 2016-2017 season. And communities were actually having challenges responding to such very different effects of shocks. We had also outbreaks of crops-related diseases, pests, and we also had livestock-related outbreaks. In terms of diseases, your anthrax, your lumpy skin, and all these are made worse by the wet conditions that we were operating in.
Drought is the major hazard in these 2 districts. And the project is aimed at ensuring that the targeted communities are food and income secure and are able to withstand shocks and stresses.
For us, the main shock that we're trying to look at in Matabeleland, which is in Region 4, is the drought, which is increasingly putting people at risk of not harvesting anything, and we can really see the effects of climate change, and now the planting season is just varying from end of October to mid-December. Whenever you plant your maize, I mean, you just don't know whether it's going to be a success or not.
During 2016 and 2017, we have seen a very positive development within the partners of Zrbf, in that we have actually managed to develop a fund that brings together partners who all adhere to the principle that were laid out in the Strategic Framework for Resilience for Zimbabwe, which was developed jointly between government partners, civil society, UN, back in 2015.
It's helping farmers or communities in terms of improve their productivity and resist to the various elements of climate change. And ultimately, they are getting higher level of production and shift towards crops which are more adaptable to the changes in climate. Also, thanks God, last year we got a very good rain, I must say. So I don't want to give 100% credit all for what we are doing, but I think we got a mileage out of that.
Hayi engubona ngani kuphose kwatshintsha ukuthi kade siku drought enkulu kodwa kade simphose ngadobha mbijana ukuthi abantu abamilabeni labo lapha bazancedakala mbijana okwensuku zona lezo.
Kubva gore rapera takawana kubva muzvirimwa zvimwewo takagona kutenga ng'ombe tikawedzerawo padanga, plus takagona kurimawo macash crops atinotarisira kuti tinenge tine zvinenge zviri nani this year.
Kubatsirika kwatakaita pamaworkshop ataitaiwa disaster management, ndofunga tichirima mujinga merwizi, zvinova zvekuti vamwe vakarima imomo vakaita sei vakatokukurirwa mbeu, asi su tadzidza izvozvo takasuduruka tikanorimawo kupi kunze ndobva taisa mafertilizer edu zvakazotipa kuti titese tikohwe. Asi kune imwe nhambawo vakarima muchi vakaita sewo zvakaeredzwa nemvura zvakaita nemvura.
It has laid a very strong and solid foundation in terms of starting the program, convincing parties, government, and development partner and UN.
Resilience is a broad concept that concerns individuals, but also societies, countries, and governments. It deals with the capacity of dealing with vulnerabilities at the level of, as I said, individuals and also societies, and to be able to respond and adapt adequately. For example, Zimbabwe suffered a drought last year, and this is a recurring phenomenon in the country. So the aim of supporting resilience is to ensure that people are able to respond to this recurring phenomenon without needing to get support from the humanitarian actors.
This country, for example, is heavily landmined. This last year we've seen torrential flooding, which has caused huge problems for people. And then there's also crop diseases, such as we've seen this year, the fall armyworm, and then cattle diseases, and at the moment we have avian flu. So there are many challenges which the programme should be able to help with.
During the first year of operation, Zrbf introduced a crisis modifier into the programme. This is a tool that allows us to have flexible programming. It means that even though we set out 3-year projects at a time, we will be able to move in and out of our programmatic processes, and we will be able to inject more resources into certain areas in case of need. This is a very useful tool to be able to flex our programming so that should a disaster happen or should a crisis occur within the programming framework, we will be able to be flexible, we'll be able to inject additional funding to support the Zimbabweans that have been affected by these crises without stopping the ongoing programming and without necessarily having to move into a humanitarian mode.
One of our interventions that we are implementing in the 3 districts is resuscitating the structures that are related to responding to such emergencies. So we have at district level, district civil protection committees, then we also had resilience committees up to the village level. And what we have been doing as a project is to resuscitate these structures, but also to go a step further to say what kind of contingency plans that they should be having in being proactive to such occurrences of these hazards and shocks. We also went into capacity building of the same structures around your resource mobilization, fundraising, damage assessment, but also to incorporate some of the ICT related interventions. We're also using the mobile phones, web-based resilience information systems, so that the communities are not only able to identify a hazard, do damage assessment, but to quickly relay this information for decision-making processes.
It's not a free handout project. It's trying to improve. It's actually not building a dependence syndrome. It's actually taking away the dependence syndrome, trying to build up resilience on them so that they can depend on themselves and they can strategize on their own in case if there is a disaster, in case if there is drought. They do not have to wait for the government to come to their rescue. They can start improvising on their own.
We're investing quite a bit on that to get maximum value for money, because this is critical these days. You know, the development is not the old business it used to be. It's doing things better, showing results on the ground, and not focusing just on processes, but the final outcome.
Yeah, tiri kutarisira kuti project sekuya kwayaita gadziriro yatiri kuita kubva pari zvino taingotarisira zvedu kuti dai ichirega kuchidzoka mashure kana kuchigumira panzira ingoenderera mberi kuitira kuti zvidzidzo zvedu zvezvatanga tichidzidza toramba tichidzidza togozvishandisa tigowana pundutso kubva pazviri.
In the second year of Zrbf, we are very pleased to welcome Sweden as one of our partners to the fund.
So we are incredibly excited to be joining the fund with an additional $8 million over a 3-year period. And together with our partners at the EU and DFID, who are also funding this endeavour, and the UNDP, who are our key implementing agreement partner, to see the work moving forward. We have just recently received a new 5-year development cooperation strategy for Zimbabwe. We have previously worked with human rights, governance, democratic development, health, but now we've also been given the mandate to work with environment, climate change, resilience, renewable energy.
The welcoming of additional partners is a statement for us that the fund is actually reaching some of the goals that it has set in terms of, for example, contributing to combating of climate change, in terms of working towards greener economy. And as more partners are joining the fund, we are hoping to be able to expand also on those parts of our work.
So this new strategic area for us will see us expanding our portfolio in the areas of promotion of green jobs, resilience, obviously, renewable energy, and really to see an economic, sustainable development in Zimbabwe.
Gender equality is at the core of the European Union development policy, and the Zimbabwe Resilience Fund recognizes that in order to achieve resilience, some deep-rooted social inequalities in Zimbabwe need to be challenged, and women have to have a strong voice and take part in decision-making.
Women play an incredibly important role, a transformative role in all societies and also in Zimbabwe. So for us, in joining the Zimbabwe Resilience Building Fund, we will make sure that we put gender equality also at top of the agenda in the implementation of the work of the fund, and also as a key dialogue issue.
The programme is also doing excellent work on financial literacy training, and one of the people I met there is Mai Masunda. She's a grandmother, a widow, who was the chairman of the local savings group that was set up under the project. But through the confidence that she's got from doing that job and from the training, she's now actually opened a bank account, and she proudly showed me her bank card and told me all about her plans to expand her business to increase the chickens and the poultry project that she has at her home. And these kind of examples, again, show how Zrbf can really change people's lives.
The program has yet to deliver results. It's a long-term program, but we see already an important aspect that we particularly like, that is integrating formal research, scientific research, with local tradition and knowledge.
There are some households that have started to see change in their lives thanks to the Zimbabwe Resilience Building Fund. For example, Saliwe Watch of Ward 9 in Mwenezi. The project made him realize the power within himself to change his life for the better. He has since started engaging in diverse livelihood activities, and is currently in the process of constructing his own small dam to harvest runoff water from the nearby rock outcrop.
Going recently to the field and attending some field days, and there were some very beautiful stories about some lead farmers who were ready to take some risks and to invest a little bit in alternative crops, but they just did very well specifically on the sorghum and also on the finger millet.
Chingosanganisa pane zvese handiti hongu chiyamuro chiripo chakakura chikonzero pane madzidzisirwo ataitwa ndingangoti kutanga nezvemafladzi izvi zvakakwanisa kuti tiite sei tikohwo zviri nane nekuti tatakasunduka munzwizi hatina kukwanisa kuita sei zvirimwa zvedu hazvina kuenda. Pane chimwe chiyamuro zvakare ndingangoti patiri kubhridhirwa zvipfuyo zvedu, ndingangoti mombe izvezvi pakaitwa artificial insemination handiti takutotarisira kuti kana dzikangobuda mombe dzedu dzikangobuda takuendesawo kumaketi breed redu rakaita sei rakati sumukei, uye zvakare nekumbudzi zvakare tatine breed repasi zvakanyanyisa munomu tiri kutongotengerwa nemari dziri pasi pasi zvatisingatarisiri muupenyu, ende unototengesa zvifuyo zvakati wandei kuti uwane mari yakati wandei, but iye zvino takutarisira kuti tikatengerwa mabreeds ari kubuda iwayo tiri kuenda tichinowana mari yakaita sei yakasumuka kudarika pane zvatatiri.
One of the things I really like about this programme is how much attention it's paid to evidence. So the beginning phase of the programme has done a lot of work mapping the different vulnerabilities that communities have, and that gives us an incredibly strong basis to move forward, because we know that the programme will be based on what's actually happening on the ground, not what we think, but what we know, and then we'll know what a difference we're making through the activities.
During 2017, Zrbf is expecting to take on more consortia as partners to be able to reach an additional 400,000 people in Zimbabwe.
The European Union is committed to continue supporting the program and to work together with other donors, the UN family, and of course with the government to support the efforts of the country in reducing poverty and reducing the need of humanitarian assistance. We will also continue lobbying other donors to convince them to join this good program.
There is no longer the luxury to say that I do humanitarian here, I do development here, and etc. We must link it up.
We will continue to try to push the boundary. It's the interest of the fund to be able to do more for more people in Zimbabwe, and we will continue to work on our principles of competitiveness, of value for money, of making sure that the best organizations, the best partners are doing absolutely what they are best at for the people in Zimbabwe in order to build the resilience of the rural communities.